Hey Playas, how you darn? Welcome back to Playas Guide. This episode of Playas Guide is going to be about N64 racing games. Now there's a little bit of a story behind this that involves you. Back in February and January on Twitch, I was streaming every single N64 racing game. And as I made my way through these games, it was up to you to select the best ones, with the exception of a few games that are exempt from this list and video because they are the most obvious choices. In fact, if I were to put them on here, I really don't even feel like there's a need to make this video. So these games that I'm talking about are not going to include Mario Kart, Diddy Kong Racing, F-Zero, or Pod Racer, because those games are so obviously good and clearly the best racing games on the N64. So if you've never heard of those games and you're looking for some good N64 racing games, those are the ones to buy. These ones that I'm going to talk about in this video are games that are a little less obvious, because I think most people who are looking up a N64 racing game video probably know about those games already. And if you don't, you do now. Go check them out. Maybe I'll make a video in the future about them. But for now, just enjoy these lesser known or titles that get a little bit less credit that are still, maybe not quite as good as those ones, but still very enjoyable. What N64 racing game list would be complete without a Cruisin game? And this game that I've selected is Cruisin World. I feel like Cruisin World is the best of the three Cruisin games on the N64. And I'll tell you why. I felt that it had improved graphics, improved controls, and a really good variety of cars and tracks. It has some interesting jumps and boosts in the game that you could use. I really felt the need to include a Cruisin game on this list, like I said, and felt that Cruisin USA, which is many people's favorite, or they're most familiar with because it's the best known of the Cruisin games, mainly because of its exposure it got in arcades. It's a good game, but I feel Cruisin World is better. That's just my opinion. You can argue that in the comments below if you'd like. And that's not to say that I dislike the original or any of the other Cruisin games either. What I also like about this game is that it's nice to get such a great variety of different settings and various notable landmarks. This game's graphics and music are a total throwback to the 90s. Cruisin World is a fairly common game. It may not be the cheapest racing game on the N64, but it is still inexpensive. Hydro Thunder. Hydro Thunder is a high-speed racing game, and it's one of my favorites on the N64. You start with 3 playable boats. As you win races, you unlock new stages to race in and more boats. Hydro Thunder is a game with solid controls, engaging gameplay by providing a balance of obstacles, ramps, items, and a killer rocket boost. If you're looking for a copy of Hydro Thunder, it is uncommon, though not expensive. There is a more rare and pricey gray variant of the game worth keeping an eye out for. Penny Racers is an N64 racer with a variety of unique and very Japanese style of art. Of all the N64 racers on this list, I would say I enjoyed Penny Racers the least. That's not to say that it's bad, because it isn't. It still made the list, but I do feel the other games on this list are better. Did you know that Penny Racers has many other different games in the franchise and a toy line? Penny Racers is an uncommon N64 game with an affordable price tag. It seems like with so many racing games on the N64 and only a handful of good ones, the majority of the games you're going to find on my list are not going to be the cheapest games because they are good and they're not always the most attainable. Ridge Racer 64 on the N64 stands out as the standard of arcade racers for the 90s. The graphics are some of the best, and in terms of racing on the N64, the controls are tight, with a wicked drift to the cars, and the game offers first and third person views for driving. I prefer the first in this game, which is not the usual for me. If you've watched any of my other videos before, you know that I'm not a big fan of first person anything. Ridge Racer is a NASCAR style racing game ported from the arcade. If you're looking to pick up a copy of Ridge Racer, it is an uncommon game and the cheapest racer covered in this video. Next up is Road Rash, and Road Rash is a ton of fun, especially if you have some people to play it with. The race is straightforward: ride your bike fast and place first. What makes Road Rash great is beating the fuck out of all the other racers. The cops get involved and will try to bust you up, but you can fight back. The higher you rank in the race and the more competitors you hurt, the greater you will be rewarded at the end of each race. Seriously, go check out this game and add it to your collection if you enjoy N64 racing games. Road Rash is somewhat uncommon. It's a popular game and the price reflects that. There are both a gray and black cartridge variant of this game. The gray is less common, but there's not much of a price difference between the two of them. Snowboard Kids 2, in my opinion, is superior to the first Snowboard Kids, and that's why it made it on my list. Snowboard Kids 2 is a racing game where you race as some odd-looking cartoon kids on snowboards. You race down a hill through various courses, collecting power-ups and using them on your opponents. I find Snowboard Kids 2 more enjoyable than the original because it looks better, it controls better, has way better courses, and a bigger variety of snowboarders, and a town hub, which is pretty cool. Snowboard Kids 2 is fairly expensive, and very expensive if you're looking for a PAL copy. The game is also pretty hard to come by. Alright players, that is my list of N64 racing games that I think you should go check out or buy. There's nothing too expensive on this list. They're fairly affordable, and you probably already have or are looking at or know about Mario Kart, F-Zero, Diddy Kong Racing, and Star Wars Pod Racers. If you haven't, add those to the list. There's 10 great games now that are on the N64 if you enjoy racers. Thanks for watching, and I hope you subscribe and follow and like and all that stuff. Later, players.